Welcome to episode 19 of me learning stuff and coding with LLMs. Today I'm going to keep working on the critical thinking web app. And in the previous episode, we were working on our prompt plan. So let's quickly review what we did. So the last commit was prompt 3, adding question generation functionality with sample questions and age group support. So if we look at our code, we have the question generator, which we can run in test mode, and we can send in some category and then the description, and use the verbose flag to let it print out the full prompt. So let me just run it to remember what it outputs. All right, let's have a quick look before we continue with prompt 4. So make 50 engaging questions in the category self-confidence, fit for the age group 9 to 12, and then the description of the category. Each question should follow this JSON structure. And here's a sample question. And yeah, only answer with a valid JSON array of questions without any extra text and explanations. Make sure that the JSON is correct and can be parsed by a JSON parser. All right, so that's where we are. Now it's probably soon time to connect it to OpenAI. So let's see, prompt 4. Let me just check that we are at the implementation prompts. Yes. Prompt 4. Extend question generator to implement question generation for a single age group. Create a function that uses the build prompt function to create a prompt, calls the OpenAI API with the prompt, parses the JSON response, validates that the response matches the expected data structure, generates unique IDs for each questions using UUID. Yeah, probably fine. Formats according to the required data model, add error handling, and include a function to validate the structure of the generated questions. Test this function with a single age group 9 to 12 before proceeding to the next step. Okay. Let's jump back to 3.7 Sonnet. And we need to add some context here. Let's use the open editors. I guess that has everything we need. Not sure if I should add the prompt plan, but let's go. Yep, sounds good. So we'll let it generate and then we'll see. And in the meantime, we'll have a quick look at prompt 5, full question generation across age groups. Define the list of age groups. Yes, and with the functions to generate all questions that iterates through all age groups. and combines result into complete collections. Handles any age group specific adjustments to prompts if needed. And add progress tracking, which is nice. It might take some time to do all of this. Implement validation and add an option to generate questions for specific age groups only. This function should produce a complete collection of questions across all age groups within one category. Yeah. Okay. Updated requirements to include JSON schema for validation. Okay. I've never used that one. That's probably fine. And then it will create this function. Assign unique IDs. Test that all the questions should have the same category. Validation functions, error handling. Okay. And then it has a test prompt for me. Sorry, a test command that I can run. I really like that. Let's review the changes. Import UUID, time, union, and then we have the schema on top. Let me just quickly see if it is correct. Type object. Okay, this, okay. And here are the required, everything is required, and we have ID type integer. Technically, I think it said to use UUID, so I'm not sure if this will work, but we'll see. Question, min length 5, I guess it's fine. Description, follow-up questions is an array with exactly 3 items. Yeah, age group, category, and tags, exactly 3 tags. And then we have a collection schema, so we have an array wrapping the questions. Max retrace 3 for API calls. And a base delay for exponential backoff in seconds. Fine. Validate question. So how does this work? We get a dictionary of strings and any, and it uses JSON schema.validate. And this is the instance. This is one question, and this is the schema. Great. And then a similar one for the array of questions. Assign unique IDs. So for each question, set the ID. Okay. What does this do? Use the last 6 digits of a UUID as a unique integer ID. I'm not sure if I like this. Isn't this very strange? I mean, 6 digits is enough, but isn't it better to just use a GUID here? I will ask about this. Generate questions for age group. which will build a prompt. If verbose, it will print out the prompt. And then it will try the first time. And it will... where does the... Okay, so we pass in the client here. And it makes the request which with some parameters here. Max tokens 4,000. What is this? Because the maximum number of tokens that can be generated in the chat completion. The value can be used to control costs. But 4,000 is probably not enough at all when we're going to generate 50 questions with a lot of text. So that's one we need to ask about. I have to make some notes here. It's the max tokens UUID for ID. What else do we have? Yeah, so we have all of these variables, which I hope have decent default values here. Presence penalty. Positive values penalize new tokens based on whether they appear in the text so far, increasing the model's likelihood to talk about new topics. Okay. Frequency penalty. Positive values penalize new tokens based on their existing frequency in the text so far, decreasing the model's likelihood to repeat the same line verbatim. Top P, an alternative to sampling with temperature called nucleus sampling, where the model considers the results of the tokens with top P probability mass. So 0.1 means that only the tokens comprising the top 10 probability mass are considered. We generally recommend altering this or temperature, but not both. Great. And temperature is basically how creative it is. So if the number is lower, it will be more focused and deterministic, and with higher value, it will be more creative, basically, and output more random, as it says here. We might have to experiment a little bit with this, of course, but I think these default values are more than good enough for our use case. Then we get the content. And we are trying to load the contents into a variable. Not doing anything so far, but of course this needs to be valid JSON for it, or else it should throw an exception. And if it is a dict, then extract all the questions. We validate the questions collection, assign unique IDs, and ensure all questions have correct category and age group. Okay. I guess it's okay. Probably could have been done better, or just validated in some other way through the schema or something, but or not schema, but I don't know. Right, and then lots of exception handling here. Fine. So let's keep this. And then I just want to make some changes. First of all, this. So can I do a selection? Should we not use D here? Don't risk the duplicate IDs when we only use 6 numbers. Update the assign unique IDs function to use a more collision resistant approach. It still wants to do an integer though. Maybe we should rather change the schema data type to string instead. Wouldn't that be better? Just save the grid as a string instead of doing lots of weird stuff to extract a number based on a grid. You're right. Using a string grid instead of an integer ID field would be a better approach. Sounds good. So then we have this simple one-liner instead. Which is good. And then instead of having integer here, we have a string with a pattern. Fine. Wonder if this will fail when we get the response from the AI. Let's update this. Doesn't really matter because when we get the response from OpenAI, we overwrite the IDs anyway. So, but just for consistency in the samples here, let's make it grids. This would have been faster to do myself, I see. So, one lesson, don't always rely on LLMs for simple stuff that you can do easily yourself. Not that it's, wouldn't actually be that super straightforward to just generate a grid on the fly I guess I could have found a website and just generated sample one or... Yeah. Done. Done. Okay. And I shouldn't have done that because I really wanted to see, I forgot to copy the command to test this. Where did this come from? There is definitely some bug here. Is the response? I'm a bit confused. So let's test. Python source question generator dash help. Okay, we need to npm. No, not npm. We need to do pip requirements. And then we can run this command. Okay, so this and then dash C 80 critical thinking. And we need a description. Questions to teach kids evaluating information, and then I want to do verbose and age group should be 8 to 11. This is not ideal, I can see, to have a string for the age group like that. Because I already forgot question samples. Here, yeah, we had an enum here, so that is what I should use in code at least. So 9 to 12, not 8 to 12, 9 to 12 is our category. This is kind of wrong, I need to fix this. Let's run it and see what happens. Do we have some progress tracking? Maybe not. So let me change this. Five now, right? 5 to 8, 9 to 12, 13, 16, 17 to... Okay, better, but maybe I should just do 17 to 20 here. Right, for consistency. We could call 17 to 20 grown-ups though. But let's help out all the kids. And then they can choose whether they want to be kids or adults. This might be not too big difference between these categories here. Maybe I should do like 20, 30, 30, 40, 50, 60. Probably not. Okay, it's working hard. And it's spitting out something. Okay. What's the difference between facts and opinions? Retry attempt 3 out of 3. Something strange is going on here. Wasn't able to parse the JSON. Probably because of this, maybe. What about the rest? Seems to cut off. I'm not sure if it's the logging or what it is, but we definitely need to debug this. Let's have a look. So it will try once and it will do this, and we have max tokens. This should be more than enough to generate at least quite a few questions, I would guess. So the parsing probably fails. Failed to generate valid questions after 3 attempts. Why? Is it because I tried to generate 50 questions and we don't have enough tokens? That we can figure out if we just say, was it dash n equals 3? Which should hopefully generate 3 questions. If it still doesn't work, we have to debug. It is not able to parse. Okay. Something is definitely wrong here. So if we go to launch.json, I thought we had a nice launch.json. Let's add a new one then. Python file with arguments. And then how does this work? Category. Is this an array or not? Shell escape. Let's try. Description Maybe I can just copy from here. Oops. Copy, launch JSON, paste, and replace this. Like this. Should we try? Then I go to debug here and I can choose, should give it a name. And program should be probably we have to source. Okay. Generate questions. We'll run this. And of course I didn't set, yeah, I did set the breakpoint. Will the breakpoint hit though? Shouldn't it? There it hits. Right. So this was the first response. And if we look at, can we look at the message content here? Response. Let me make a little bit better space. What do we have in the response here? It should be response.choices 0.message. I just copy this and create a new file. We can see that it's not particularly JSON-y. We have too much stuff that's not supposed to be here. But seems like getting the data is just the output format is not correct. Let's see if Claude can figure it out. It's probably something wrong with the prompt generation here. Where do we have build prompt? So this probably should definitely not be part of the, and there are some too many brackets here, but those are probably there because of the JSON string or not. Yeah, this is what we want the output to be like, and it seems like the questions are okay, except that it returns an int, which might give us a parsing issue, but it's not really a big problem. We're going to replace it. So what will it do here then? Let's see. Interesting. It's adding back what I removed here. Clean JSON response. This is definitely not what I want at all. I don't like this solution. I change to Cloud Thinking here. Open AI API should be able to respond with proper JSON format with the structured output functionality. Let's see if we can fix this properly. I have done this before manually, so we can have a look at how I did it then. You're absolutely right. Using the structured output functionality of the OpenAI API would be a much better approach. So quite often we need to like nudge the LLM in the right direction. Maybe I could have used better prompts, probably more specific prompts, but yeah, we need to be careful and always question what the LLM is doing. Yes, so now we have this response format here as part of the chat completions thing. So I think we are on to something. Here we have the response format defined. Let's see if that works. Oh, I don't want a clean JSON response thing. I do want this, and I do want this. Extract the response content. It's always valid JSON. Yep. And then we do JSON loads, fine. Doing some checking, fine. Okay. Not sure if we need to do this extra validation. Okay, and this is why it was cutting off the log message, fine. Smart. This we can just delete this file anyway. Yeah. So this is it, isn't it? Keep. Let's try again. And run our file here. Okay, OpenAPI error. Let's fix that. This change simplifies the response format. Just type JSON object. Okay. Okay. Really thought I didn't have to do that. I will go back to my old code and just have a look. Field validating type in. Yeah. Makes sense. We're getting an integer back, and we're expecting UID. The question is, why does it do this? Because in my prompt, I thought I had removed unique number. So this should be UID. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Let's try. Response received. We have 3 questions, and this looks pretty good. And then we'll assign new IDs and ensure that the category is correct, which hopefully it is. Should be, so probably I can remove the validation at some point, but for now, okay, I can loop through and just set it. And then it returns questions. Let me just read the questions quickly. How can we... Okay. I'm just dumping the questions. The first question here. And finishing. Okay. ID. How can we know that information we find online is true? Helps the kid to develop skills to evaluate sources and information on the internet. Follow-up questions. What signs can show that the source is not reliable? Have you ever found any wrong information? How did you find out? What can we do to double check information before we believe it? Great. Okay. I am pretty happy with that. So the question now, maybe I should try... I just want to test. If I generate 50 now, I don't think 4,000 tokens is enough for that. So let me just see if it cuts the response. How many responses we get. While we are waiting for that, I want to have a look at my previous attempt at building this question builder. So we have OpenAI client here. And here I set the max tokens to 12,000 to make sure I could get enough back. I think there is a max here from OpenAI as well. But what did I want to check? I want to check the question generator, is it? Or prompt templates or main. Response format, question. Response format question list, which is a Pydantic model. That was the missing link here. So if we use Pydantic, we can do it this way. Find a class, and then we can say response format equals question list, which makes sure that we get the correct type back. So if we go back to our code here, we can see that here we just say that the response format is of type JSON object, so it doesn't do any validation. We need to do the validation ourselves. So I definitely want to change and then use Pydantic here. But that will be in the next episode because it's getting late and I'm very tired. So yeah. So we got some parsing error now. So we need to look into that in the next episode, but I'm definitely going to rewrite to use Pydantic instead. So, but we are moving in the right direction and we are getting to the really interesting stuff. For sure. So, thank you for watching and we'll continue next time. Bye.